Alright, so I'm back for the new year and back with a new video. So happy new year to anyone that's watching, and I'm just going to get straight into it. So today I'm pulling apart a SEIKO 6218 movement, and yeah, it's definitely a movement that shows off some of the craziness that happened with the jewel races, as in putting as many jewels as possible in a watch that are totally useless. And just taking off the day disc there, you can see the first lot of useless jewels. So we've got 4 there. They do absolutely nothing. So you could basically, this movement's meant to be a 35 jewel movement, so you could basically knock it down now to 31, and we'll see a whole bunch more useless jewels in a sec. Now you can see here as well, I've just done some upgrades to my filming. So I've just got a macro lens to go on the front of the camera, and the benefit of that is that I'm able to keep the camera a lot further away from the work, which helps me really to get in there and get a better aspect ratio, and also so you can see what I'm doing a lot better. And I had a little bit of difficulty with the screws on these plates here. They're just not good quality screws, so even though I grind my screwdriver to catch the edges of screws, I really had some difficulty with these. And eventually I'm going to get it off. So anyway, just on the 6218 movement, it's basically a higher jewel version of the 6206, which is also related to the 6217 or the 62 mass movement. There's a lot of interchangeable parts between them. And just pulling that plate off there, you can see a little spring under there, which is real trouble. So quite often they ping off. If you're really careful handling them, they don't. But that's one of the major ones that gives you a headache on these. And that is the date click there. And that's my my Outlook. Of course, I forgot to turn it off, so I'll just switch that off now. Alright, so to get the whole movement apart, you do need to take off the date click with these, and that little spring that we just saw in the calendar plate there, that actually is the tension for the date click, or the day click, sorry. Now we're taking off the spring for the date click, and you can see my method of doing that there with some Rodico just to take the tension off. Since I've been doing that, basically pinging off to the other side of the room, it hasn't really happened, so I definitely am going to continue with that. And now that that's off, you can actually see how the calendar system works. So I'm just rotating it there, and you'll see that wheel's got 2 tangs on it. So one tang will move the day disc, and the other tang moves the date disc, and you can see there when they turn, and it'll turn once every 24 hours, it's going to flick each disc around. So yeah, the other movements are in this series. I think there's a 6201, don't quote me on that. 6205, which is the date only version, and of course the 6217, which is the diver version. There's not any major differences between all of them. The main differences are the jewel count. There's a few small things that are done differently, but most of the parts are interchangeable between them. And certainly one of the higher end movements, for example the 6205, you can put into a 6217 diver. And the benefit of that is that there's more jewels and less wear on the gear train because of the higher amount of jewels in the movement. because the 6205 I think is a 25 joule, whereas the 6217 is a 17 joule. So what that means is that instead of having joules on the bridge that the gear train rides on, it just has bushes instead, and the bushes wear really badly over like 50 years. So it's better to have a joule there, which you wouldn't expect to wear at all. So just quickly on what joules actually are. So they're a non-precious synthetic ruby, and I'll go into that in a bit more detail in a sec. But we see there some more, excuse me, totally useless joules, and we've got, what have we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can knock that off the joule count as well. So we're at what, 31. So if we take that down, what does that make? 24, I think. Yeah, it's 24. So just getting back to what they actually are. So the joules are actually made from aluminium oxide, and they fire them at a very high temperature, which is called the Vermeule process, and it melts into this molten, glassy, dripping type thing, which is called a ball. And out of that, they they machine all these little joules. So before they were able to make them synthetically, what they used to make them out of was either genuine ruby or garnet. And of course, that was quite expensive. So a jeweled watch was ludicrously expensive and was a very high-end piece of equipment. The Vermeule process came in, I think, around 1920-ish. So that's when you'll start to see synthetic jewels starting to come into watches, replacing a lot of bushes and all sorts of other weird stuff that they used to run the gear train on. And see that I've nearly removed the entire calendar plate there. So you'll see these have got diafix settings on the top and the bottom. We're just looking at the bottom ones now. So those jewels that are actually pressed into the plate do not even touch the calendar wheel. So absolutely and utterly useless. They're there for decoration, but I mean, they don't even really make it look that good, to be quite honest. I'd rather see the jewels actually on the top and bottom of the barrel arbor, as that's really where the major wear on these are. That'd just make a whole lot more sense. I think there's some really crazy attempts at doing this. I mean, there was a 100 jewel movement or something at one point I remember seeing somewhere. Of course, basically all of those are totally useless. So we're just removing the keyless works now. Now the keyless works on this is basically identical to its other brothers and sisters, which also, I've just remembered, is also there was a World Time as part of that family as well. Now what's flicked off just there, which I didn't expect to happen, is just the click. So that usually doesn't do that. And now we're just removing the yoke and also the yoke spring. And those yoke springs are actually quite strong, so they really will hit the other side of the room if you don't hold them down when you remove them. And now really all we've got left is the setting lever spring, and the sliding pinion. And they're basically identical on its other brothers and sisters as well. If you look really closely at where the bottom barrel arbor is, you see that next to my finger there, the black spot. Now what that is that's actually sludge of grease and worn brass. So the barrel arbor has just been wearing that away. Now what I'm moving there with the tweezers is the hacking lever. The other thing that is different between this one and its lower end cousins is that it is a hacking movement. So that means that when you pull the crown, it will stop the second hand from moving, as in the second sweep hand. So just looking on the top there, they basically look at a glance identical to its cousins, brothers, sisters, whatever. The balance cock has a tadpole style adjuster, which was pretty common with the high-end SEIKO movements at the time. And this movement would sit in there as a mid-range movement, so it's higher than a 6206, but not quite as high as the Grand SEIKO version, which I don't remember the number of right this second. So we're just taking the balance out there. I'm actually going to remove the jewel off camera because it's just too difficult to do on camera. And now we've just got the automatic winding framework there. And that's just held in with 3 screws. So we're just undoing those now. The movement holder that I've got it in is actually part of a new product line that I'm launching this year. So I only ever did like 4 or something in the whole time that I've been doing them, which is from 2014. But going forward, I'm going to be doing a lot more. So I've got a 62 series, which is this one. I've also got one for the King SEIKO 44 and 45. And I've revamped a whole bunch of the old ones as well. So I've moved over to a slimmer design, a little bit easier to make, and the tolerances on them are better as well. So what I had to do with a lot of these is before shipping them, I fitted a sample movement, or just a crappy movement I had here just to check the fit. And if they're a little bit tight, I used to have to deburr them, and if they're a little bit loose, I'd just reject them and make another one. But with the new designs that I've done, they're actually much more consistent, so I'll be doing a lot less of that sort of work. But yeah, they should come up on the eBay store pretty soon. I'm just building up a little bit of inventory of them at the moment. And probably later in the year, I'm going to revise the hand setting tool for the 6138 and 6139. And also in the works is a hand setting tool for the 70 series chronos. So that's the 7016, 7017, 7018. They're a little bit more difficult to work with. I haven't entirely decided how I'm going to support the center jewel on those yet, but once I've figured that out, I'll release those. So now we're looking at the business end of the movement. Now we've removed the automatic framework, and you can see there we've got 2 more die fix settings. So you could consider this movement fully jeweled, and having the die fix settings in theory should increase the consistency and accuracy of the movement. So we've just got the barrel under there, and you'll see the top barrel arbor's got that black powder everywhere as well, which is just grease and ground brass. It was impossible for me to determine whether it was heavily worn or not, just because there was so much there. So it's been cleaned now, and what I'll do from here is just evaluate whether it needs repair or whether it's okay or not. I did contemplate making a line of jewels for this movement to do the barrel arbors, but I've sort of concluded that there probably just isn't really enough of them around to make it worthwhile. So at this point I'm not going to do any, the cost on these, especially with the pretty crappy Australian dollar at the moment, is quite high. So unless you can move a lot of them, it's not really worth it. So we're just removing the top train plate now. And just flipping it up there. We're going to see the hacking lever in a sec. There we go. And you can see the gear train, and there's the hacking lever right there. So yeah, this little brothers don't have this on it, and it's a pretty simple hacking lever. It's actually pretty good. Simpler is better with this sort of stuff. With some of the modification parts from this era SEIKO movement, it's actually colour them gold rather than the silver, just so that you can pick them out, which I guess is a handy thing to do. So just on the centre wheel there, it does have a little, just a little jewel plate there, which we're just removing. It's a little bit unusual. But good, I guess. And we've got to be careful just removing that. It's a little bit sticky. And now we're just removing the center bridge now. That doesn't really leave much on the movement. There you go. So we're left with the barrel, escape wheel, and center wheel. Oh, and also the barrel click. So I'm just removing the click now. You can still see a lot of that black sludgy type stuff on the barrel there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out once it's been cleaned and whether it has loads of slop in it or not. Yeah, you can see quite a lot of that sludge there. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll try and get some more stuff out soon. I've been really busy, so I haven't had heaps of time to do videos. But yeah, definitely more interesting stuff to come, and thanks for watching.